Right? I respond to the invocation of the supplicant when he calls upon me. So I respond, literally, I respond to the caller when he makes the call to me, right? أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ. I respond to the call of the caller when he calls upon me. The word dua is used 3 times in a row here. دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ. When he calls upon me. فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا لِي. So let them respond to me. So Allah says, I respond to you when you make dua. So let you respond to me. Right, through the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and submission to whatever He's given us in the Quran and the Sunnah. وَلْيُؤْمِنُوا بِي لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْشُدُونَ. And let them have faith in me, have iman in me, so that they may be rightly guided. Right? So what Allah is saying is that I will respond to you, but you need to respond to me, and you need to have faith in me, so that you can be rightly guided, and your du'as will be getting a response. Now I want you to remember this word, response. Okay, think of this for a second. Allah says, I will respond to your dua. In another ayah in Surah Ghafir, Allah Azza wa Jalla says, وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمُ ادْعُونِي أَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ. Right? إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ عَنْ عِبَادَتِي سَيَدْخُلُونَ جَهَنَّمَ دَاخِرِينَ. And your Lord has said, your Master has said, ادْعُونِي. This is now a command. So Allah has said, make dua to me. Right? Make dua to me, I will respond to you. أَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ. Again the word, respond comes up. Indeed, those who are too arrogant to make my worship, and here Allah Azza wa Jalla uses the word ibadah to replace the word dua. Right? He's saying, call to me, make dua to me, because those who are too arrogant to worship me, ibadati, سَيَدْخُلُونَ جَهَنَّمَ دَاخِرِينَ, they will enter the hellfire in humiliation. Right? So Allah Azza wa Jalla is giving a command that you need to, you must call out to me, you must make dua to me. And this dua is worship. And anybody who thinks he is not in need of my worship, making dua, then he will enter Jahannam humiliated. Right? So this is a direct teaching from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And all of us naturally call out to something, and Allah is telling us, you call out to me. That's it. You call out to me and me alone, and do not feel that you are too arrogant. Right? So sometimes we think, we have to get something done. And we'll share the hadith later that talks about the simple things, but we think we have to get something done, and maybe dua is the last thing that we do. Right? It should be the first, the middle, and the last thing that we do, but maybe we're like, oh, okay, I've done everything else, maybe I should make dua. Right? So this is kind of a little dangerous approach. We need to understand that Allah Azza wa Jalla is the one that gives everything. So call to Him in the beginning, call to Him while we're doing our efforts, and call to Him at the end. Sorry. Was that my phone? Okay. This is called an Imam fail. When you, in the mess, you don't have your phone off. That's a fail from me, inshallah. But again, so Allah Azza wa Jalla is saying that this is a worship for Him. And then Allah Azza wa Jalla also says, أَمَّا يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرَّ إِذَا دَعَاهُ وَيَكْشِفُ السُّوءِ. He talks about Himself that is He not best the one who responds to the desperate one when he calls upon Him and removes evil. Right? So again, when we're desperate, we do call upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah Azza wa Jalla helps us, and then He is the one that's doing this. He is the one that's removing these harmful things, these things that weigh down on us, that make us anxious in our lives. Who else is it but Allah Azza wa Jalla that removes these things? And He says, أَمَّا يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرَّ. Is He not best the one who responds? Again the word, responds to the desperate one when he calls and removes evil from him. This is Surah Al-Naml. And in Surah Al-A'raf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَدُعُوهُ خَوْفًا وَطَمَعًا إِنَّ رَحْمَةَ اللَّهِ قَرِيبٌ مِنَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. And invoke Him in fear and hope. Call upon Him. Make dua to Him in fear and in hope. خَوْفًا وَطَمَعًا. Right? Out of fear of Him. That you need Him in your life. وَطَمَعًا. Out of hope for Him. Out of this want for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be in your life. For Him to respond to you. إِنَّ رَحْمَةَ اللَّهِ قَرِيبٌ مِنَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. The mercy of Allah is near to those who do good. The mercy of Allah is near to those who do good. So you can kind of understand that the response from Allah Azza wa Jalla is a rahmah, right? When you're calling out to Allah Azza wa Jalla in fear and in hope, what you're expecting is the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the answering of a dua or a response to your dua is a mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is now, dua is also being referred to. The answer or the response to the dua is being called rahmah. Rahmatan, inna rahmatullahi qareebun min al-muhsinin. And the rahmah of Allah, the mercy of Allah is near to those who do good. So there's a lot of things in this ayah. You're making dua to Allah Azza wa Jalla out of fear and hope. But you know that you want that mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you need to make sure you're doing ihsan, right? You need to make sure you're doing those things that are considered to be amongst the muhsineen, the doers of good. And in many places in the Quran, Allah Azza wa Jalla mentions that, Inna Allah yuhibbul muhsineen. Allah loves those who do good, and He mentions the qualities that they have. So we need to go and see what are those qualities of the muhsineen, and then do our best to qualify for those. And then inshallah we will see that the rahmah of Allah, the mercy of Allah is near to those who are muhsineen, right? So again, the Quran, even though it's separated by these ayat, it's connected, right? So we're not going to read one ayah, get everything. We have to go back and find we have to research and work hard to understand who are the muhsineen, what are the qualities of the muhsineen. So let's try our best to be like the muhsineen, and then we will get the mercy of Allah, inshaAllah, when we call out to Him, whether it's in fear or whether it's in hope. So these are some of the ayat of the Quran, and I want to share some of the ahadith of the Prophet ﷺ and what he said about dua. One of the most famous ahadith is ad-du'a huwa al-ibadah. That dua is worship. And we know that from the ayah of Surah Ghafir, right? وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمْ ادْعُونِي أَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ, right? إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ عَنْ عِبَادَتِي سَيَدْخُلُونَ جَهَنَّمَ دَاخِرِينَ. When he said, and he commands us, make dua to me, I will respond to you, because those who are too arrogant to make my worship, that they will enter the hellfire in humiliation. So this ayah is supporting, and again, this hadith is supporting the ayah where it says, dua huwa al-ibadah, dua is worship. Calling out to Allah Azza wa Jal is in itself worship. And what else are we doing in our salah when we're praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we're making, Surah Al-Fatiha itself is a dua. Surah Al-Fatiha itself is a dua, and it teaches us the manners of how to make dua. By praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by using His names and attributes, and then asking Him for the things we need, and having hope in Him as well. So dua in and of itself is worship. The Prophet ﷺ also said in a hadith narrated by Imam At-Tirmidhi, لَيْسَ شَيْءٌ أَكْرَمَ عَلَى اللَّهِ تَعَالَى مِنَ الدُّعَى. There is nothing more valuable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than dua. And again, that's why He chose to use the word ibadah and dua in the Quran as well. There's nothing more valuable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than the dua that you make. So when you know now this is something very, 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 precious to Allah Azza wa Jal, how often should we be doing it, right? And again, the technicalities of dua is you can make dua anytime. Whatever stage you're in, you can call out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? But so this is something very, very precious to Him, so we should be making dua to Him as much as possible. We should be calling on Him as much as possible, and we'll see inshallah what the Prophet said about that. He also said, إِنَّ رَبَّكُمْ تَبَارَكَ وَتَعَالَى حَيِّيٌّ كَرِيمٌ يَسْتَحْيِي مِنْ عَبْدِهِ إِذَا رَفَعَ يَدَيْهِ إِلَيْهِ أَنْ يَرُدَّهُمَا صِفْرًا. So the Prophet said, indeed your master, your Lord, is shy and most generous. He is shy to leave his slave empty-handed when he raises his hands towards him. Meaning Allah Azza wa Jal doesn't leave people empty-handed. And the word now from the ayat before comes, he responds to what you do, right? How He responds, we'll see in a second. But He responds to your dua whenever you make it. That's a promise from Allah Azza wa Jal. There's a difference between responding and giving you what you're asking for. So that's the point I'm trying to make. There's a difference between Allah Azza wa Jal responding to you and giving you what you want, right? So if you call out to somebody, or if you call out to your mom and say, Mom, I want dinner, and Mom responds, right? And she says, not yet, right? That's a response, okay? She's not giving you dinner, but she gave you a response, right? Not to say that that's all what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does, but the difference between responding and giving you what you want, that's important. But Allah Azza wa Jal, the Prophet, as he said, Allah Azza wa Jal does not leave a slave empty-handed. He does not leave you empty-handed. And then he said in another hadith narrated by Imam At-Tirmidhi, لَيَسْأَلْ أَحَدُكُمْ رَبَّهُ حَاجَتَهُ حَتَّى يَسْأَلَهُ الْمِلْحَ وَحَتَّى يَسْأَلَهُ شِسْعَ نَعْلِهِ إِذَا انْقَطَعَ. You should ask your master, your Rabb, for all your needs, even for the salt that you have in your food, and even for the strap on your sandal if it breaks. Right? You should make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are simple things. These are simple things. Salt, you go to Publix, you go to Walmart, you get salt. You go to your neighbor's house, you get salt. Your shoe breaks or whatever, you get a new shoelace, you put it in, or you stitch it up, or whatever. Right? So these are simple little things, but the Prophet ﷺ said, every single one of you should ask Allah for each and every one of your needs, even if it is the salt that you're putting on your food, and even if it's the sandal on your, or the strap on your sandal if it breaks. Right? Before you go to do anything, ask Allah Azza wa Jal to grant it to you. And this is the habit of dua, right? So this is a precious thing to Allah. It's valuable to Allah. This is the habit that the Prophet ﷺ was trying to teach the Sahaba, radiallahu anhu. Ask Allah all the time for every little thing that you need. And now you can imagine, if you're getting into the habit of, any little thing that you need, you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for it first, you appreciate it when you get it, right? You appreciate it when you get it. Even though you already have access to it, you realize you only have access to it because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has allowed you to have access to it. How many people are there that don't have access to salt? Think about it for a second. They don't have access to shoes, right? They don't have these things. So the fact that you have even the simplest luxuries of life is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you get into the habit of using these without even thinking about it, then obviously that like the Prophet we talked about last month, right? When لم يشكر القليل لم يشكر الكثير. Whoever does not show appreciation for little will not show appreciation for the big things. Right? If you can't show appreciation for the little things, how are you going to show appreciation for the big things? So the little things matter. The little things matter. You have gas in your car. You should ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, have enough gas so I can get to where I need to go. right? Whatever it is, make my tires have an affair, whatever it is. But if you think about the minor things in your life, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for it, and this, makes you more appreciative, but it also makes you understand that, man, I only have these things because Allah has given these to me, and how many people don't have these things? And how many may be making dua for this, and they're not getting these little things, these little luxuries in life. The Prophet ﷺ also said in another hadith in the Tirmidhi, he says, "Ud'u Allah wa antum muqinuna bil ijaba, wa'lamu anna Allah la yastajibu du'a'an min qalbin ghafil billah." Make dua to Allah and be certain in the response. Right? That's what he said. Make dua to Allah and be certain in your response, and know that Allah does not respond to a dua from an inattentive and heedless heart. From an inattentive and heedless heart. قَلْبٍ غَافِلٍ لَاهٍ. So if you're making dua, and sometimes we get into the habit, right, of making dua, we know that we're supposed to say this after prayer, or we know that we have a dua that we want to ask Allah Azza wa Jal, but over time it becomes a habit. So we have a set time when we make it, we just raise our hands, we say it, we get it over with, and when you're done, you can't even think of what you asked for. Right? You can't even go back and say, wait, what were the words I said? Or if we're making dua in Arabic and we don't speak it, we don't understand it, we didn't learn what that dua means, and we're just saying it, and it makes no connection with our hearts. Right? It makes no connection with our hearts. This is a heedless and neglectful and inattentive dua. And Allah does not respond to a dua that you're not paying attention to anyways. And think about it. What kind of a dua is that? Right? You're asking somebody for something, but you're not even paying attention to what you're doing. Right? So how much respect are you showing to the person that you would be asking in such a manner? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is far above everything else. So He's not going to respond to someone who's not even serious when they're making their dua. So making sure we have an attentive heart, that we're focused when we're making dua, right? So at least conscious of what we're saying, of what we're asking for, what we're doing, that is having an attentive heart and not having a heedless heart. May Allah Azza wa Jal grant us that the ability to make sure that our du'as are at least attentive, right? At least we're conscious of what we're doing when we are making dua. Now again, your prayer is a dua, right? Think about that for a second. So the Fatiha is a dua. When you're praying, you're making dua. So if your heart is inattentive, you're heedless, what is the value of your salah? What is the value of a salah that's just done out of habit and has no attentiveness, no consciousness to it? Inshallah, keep that in mind. Dua is a sign of iman, as some of the scholars have mentioned. It's an admission that you have no control. It's an admission that Allah Azza wa Jal hears you, and you're showing that Allah Azza wa Jal is capable of giving you the things you're asking for. Right? So when you're making dua, this is what you're actually doing. That Allah is listening to me, Allah is hearing me, He's the one in control, He's the only one that can give me this, right? And He is the one that is capable of doing all of these things. Now when we talk about Allah Azza wa Jal responding to your dua, what are the ways that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responds to your dua? These are things we know, we've heard many times in the khutbah, that how the 3 ways or the 4 ways that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responds to us when we make a dua. So again, just like you call your mother, you say, Mom, I'm hungry, I want some food, and she says, not yet, right? That's one response. Or she says, wait a little bit, I'll give you, something in a second. Or you ask for something specific, she gives you something else. It's still nutrition, mashallah, right? So these are just ways to understand. But so when you make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without, with an attentive heart, not a heedless heart, one of a few things can happen. Either you get what you ask for, right? And you get what you ask for when you want it and how you want it. Or you get what you ask for when and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decides, right? So either you ask for something specific, it happens in the way you want it to, or it happens not in the way you wanted to, but you get, in the end, what you were intending to get. And in a way that Allah decides is better. Another thing that can happen, and Allah in His wisdom knows that what you're asking for is not in your best interest, and so He will not give it to you. Right? He will not give it to you, and He will either remove some hardships that were meant to come your way, because you're making dua, you're doing a good deed, they remove hardships that come your way, or He might save that dua for you in the hereafter, as ajr, as good deeds that will go into your balance of good deeds. So this is Allah Azza wa Jal responding to your dua. None of it goes to waste. None of it goes to waste. Or you can, so these are the 3 ways. I broke it down into 2. But these are the 3 ways that Allah Azza wa Jal basically responds to your dua. And we have to have this faith that when we're asking Allah Azza wa Jal for something, we shouldn't think that because we're not getting it, that He's not going to give it to us. Right? You can continuously keep asking for something your whole entire life. And we know the dua of Ibrahim alayhi salam for a son. Right? How long he made that dua and when it was that Allah Azza wa Jal gave him the son. Right? So the Prophet ﷺ himself, how often did he make the dua to guide his ummah and his people? But not every one of them was guided. Right? How often did he make, he went to Ta'if and put in all that effort, but not everyone was immediately, guided. But, sometimes we'll get it at a long time later, sometimes we'll get it a short time, but we don't know what the response of Allah Azza wa Jal is going to be. So this is the possibility, but we have no idea. So we shouldn't just give up making a dua. And there's a hadith about that we'll share as well, inshallah. We shouldn't give up making dua if we're asking for something, because the response from Allah Azza wa Jalla, either hardships are removed from us, or that dua is saved for us in the hereafter, and it will benefit us when we go with Allah Azza wa Jalla to see these good deeds in the form of our skill. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, لا يزال يستجاب للعبد ما لم يدعو بإثم أو قطيعة رحم ما لم يستعجل. قيل يا رسول الله بالاستعجال قال يقول قد دعوت وقد دعوت فلم أرى يستجيب لي فيستحسن عند ذلك ويدعو الدعاء. The Prophet told us this thing that sometimes we might do. He said, the servant continues to be responded, again use the word, respond, continues to be responded to in his dua as long as he does not pray for a sin. You're not asking for something that is sinful in and of itself. Right? This is very important to remember. We have to sometimes take into account some of the du'as we might be making might be asking for sin. And he says, as long as he does not ask for a sin, and as long as he's not praying to cut off family ties. Right? Qati'at rahim. This is very, very important. Allah Azza wa Jalla emphasizes the fact that we have to be, joining or making sure that we're maintaining family ties, not breaking them. So if you're making du'a for breaking family ties, that's a kind of a dua that's really, Allah Azza wa Jalla is not going to respond to, right? Or it might respond to it in a way that you're not going to like, right? Just to teach you a lesson. But, so don't pray for sins and don't pray for breaking off family ties, and as long as he does not make haste, meaning as long as he's not trying to get that dua in a hurry. مَا لَمْ يَسْتَعْجِلْ. So the companions, radiallahu anhum, you understand what the word means, right? As long as he's not trying to hurry. So they said, but what is مَا الْإِسْتِعْجَالِ? What do you mean by as long as he doesn't try to hurry with the dua? And he said, it's when the person says, I've been praying, and I don't see a response. And so he leaves off that dua. He stops making that dua. He says, I've been praying to Allah for this, and He's not giving it to me, so you know what? That's it, I'm not going to get it. So he leaves off that dua. Right? And what did he say? Allah keeps responding. He keeps responding. So the more you make the dua, you're getting a response. You're getting something good in return. Even if you're not getting what you asked for, you're still getting something good in return. So even if you don't see you're getting what you asked for, that doesn't mean you stop asking for it. A lot of us take that as a sign that, okay, we're probably not going to get this, let's stop. It's been 5 years, 10 years, I've been praying for this, I'm not going to get it. No, Allah Azza wa Jalla continues to respond to the dua that you make. Removing the hardships that you have no idea might hit you. Right? Saving, racking up good deeds on the day of judgment. You might have more bad, and then all of a sudden you see all these good deeds, you're like, where did these come from? These are all your du'as that you didn't get in this dunya. Right? So Allah Azza wa Jalla keeps responding to you. As long as you're not praying for sinful things, as long as you're not praying to break off family ties, and as long as you don't give up that dua. He'll continue to respond to you no matter what that dua is. Now this beautiful hadith is a hadith Qudsi, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking to the Prophet ﷺ, not in the form of Quran. And this hadith really shows us the power of dua. And the fact is that the power of dua lies in you. And we've been talking about respond. So listen to this hadith carefully. I'll read it in Arabic first. عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن الله تعالى قال من عادى لي وليا فقد آذنته بالحرب وما تقرب إلي عبدي بشيء أحب إلي مما افترضت عليه وما يزال عبدي يتقرب إلي بالنوافل حتى أحبه فإذا أحببته كنت سمعه الذي يسمع به وبصره الذي يبصر به ويده التي يبطش بها ورجله التي يمشي بها وإن سألني لأعطينه ولئن استعاذني لأعيذنه وما ترددت عن شيء أنا فاعله ترددي عن نفس المؤمن يكره الموت وأنا أكره مساءته. So the Prophet ﷺ is narrating from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the form of a hadith, and he says, Allah has said that my slave comes closer to me through the performance of the obligations which I have placed upon him. You think about what are the obligations that we have, the 5 pillars of Islam, they're all obligations that we have. Other things that we have as well are obligations: don't lie, don't cheat, your character, your worship, and all of these things, and how you pray, and obeying the Prophet ﷺ as well. All of those things which are obligations upon us is the way you get closer and closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he says, and again it's Allah directly saying, He continues to draw closer and closer to me through the nawafil, the extra acts of worship that He does. So just you're praying 5 times a day without praying any sunnahs, right? And just you're fasting in Ramadan without fasting any time else. Just you making hajj without going for extra umrah, right? Just you giving zakat without giving any sadaqah. These are ways you get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then how do you get closer and closer and closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? By doing the extra acts of worship. Praying your sunnah prayers, going for umrah, giving the sadaqah, fasting Mondays and Thursdays, or ayam will be the 13th, 14th, 15th, or any other time, that you want to fast. So doing things on an optional level, you get even closer and closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Again, the prerequisite to that is that you're doing your obligations, right? Sometimes we see people, and I've seen